This is 5 things I wish someone had told me about self-worth. Number 1, I wish someone had told me that you were made on purpose for a purpose, just the way you are. Nothing about how you look, your age, your capabilities, what you've done or been through can stop you or hold you back from the big, beautiful purpose you're here for, no matter what anyone else's opinions of you might be. There's nothing about you or the circumstances that you may be in that can disqualify you. God gave you your looks, your creativity, your different way of looking at things, your specific skill set, everything about you to be like nobody else's. When you think you're too fat, too thin, too tall, too small, too dumb, too poor, or perhaps you were born with some mental or physical challenge or deformity, and you think that is what's stopping you from living the life you're meant to live, it's just not true. Whatever God gave you and however He made you, no one can belay you if God wants to display you. You can make a difference for generations to come using whatever unique talents and abilities you have. You can live an amazing life if you love and accept yourself and you believe you were made on purpose for a purpose. 2, I wish someone had told me that being different is a good thing. Sometimes we are so busy trying to fit the mold that we become indoctrinated by what we think perfection should look like. Everything around you, the examples you see on TV programs, movies, and magazines, and their opinions of what beauty and success and smarts should look like, which, it makes us think that if we don't look a certain way or our version of success is different, that there's something wrong with us. No, there's not. When you're trying to fit inside a box that society made, that God never intended for you to be in, you allow yourself to be trapped. There's no way you can be like those people in the magazines because, honestly, even those people in the magazines don't look like those people in the magazines. At least not in real life. I mean, hello, Photoshop! Seriously. Is it just me, or have you noticed that all of the influencers on social media are starting to look the same? I'm wondering, do they all have the same plastic surgeon?
Jealous much?
No, I am not jealous. Maybe a little. Here's the thing. You were never made to look like anyone else. We are all like snowflakes. No one is ever the same. You are utterly unique, which makes you precious. If you've ever watched one of those shows on antiques or collectibles, then you know the more rare something is, the more it's worth. Your individuality is the root of your true beauty because no one is like you. Even identical twins formed from the same split egg don't share the same fingerprints. You, being one of a kind, means your worth is incalculable. You are priceless. So embrace being different and know that it's a good thing. Number 3, I wish someone had told me that hot does not equal happy.
What? Yeah, right. Maybe if you're a monk or a nun or a shaman, but not where I'm from. People judge you by how you look. If you're not hot, you miss out on job opportunities, people won't date you, and nobody will follow you on your social.
Ugh. There was a time in my life where I believed that, where I thought If I just looked a certain way, then I'd be happy. If some parts of me were thinner and other parts of me were thicker. I was in this vicious cycle of wanting to be younger and thinner, and I would go on these crazy, unsustainable diets, and man, I would be so hangry and just crazed out of my mind, I would explode onto my husband.
You don't love me! You are disgusting! Just grab your bag and get out of here!
When I was young and thin, I remember looking back at pictures recently when I was not happy. I was so unhappy. Even when I was so close to my ideal weight, I still found flaws to pick apart in myself. But right now, I'm older than I've ever been. I weigh more now than I did when I was pregnant with my first child, but I'm also happier than I have ever been. And I learned that after years of torturing myself, just to love myself and accept that hot does not equal happy. Number 4, I wish someone had told me that comparison will kill your confidence. I was looking at this pregnant girl on Instagram who was pregnant at the same time I was pregnant with my second child. And man, just a week after she had her baby, she was posing in a sports bra and underwear with a flat washboard stomach and hips that looked like nothing as big as a cantaloupe had passed through them. Like, how unfair. I mean, what woman even has a washboard stomach before a child, let alone after? Is it just me? No, I was so huge and bloated. I was heavier than my husband. I could not even fit into my maternity clothes. Comparing your journey to someone else's can wreak havoc on your self-esteem and even affect your mental health, if I'm being honest. Here's the sad thing I've learned. Whenever we compare ourselves, we are always comparing what we think is the worst thing in us to a lot of times what's the best thing in someone else. When we see someone looking happy and they happen to be hot, we think that there's a correlation, but we don't know how they really feel or what's going on inside them when the camera stops rolling, or when they're laying in bed at night thinking about their life. You know what? They may be wishing for the very things that I have. A faithful husband and kids who love me. We can't even assume that they're happy or fulfilled. But one thing is sure, when you compare yourself, you can't win, and you won't feel good, because comparison will kill your confidence. Number 5, I wish someone had told me that you are worthy no matter what. You may be surprised to learn that the saint who feeds the hungry on Skid Row every Saturday out of his or her own paycheck has the same worth and intrinsic value in God's eyes as the serial killer in prison whom God has forgiven. You are worthy because He made you and He chose you before the foundation of the world. And He determined that you are worthy even before you were born. No matter what anyone thinks about you, your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. Your value doesn't decrease based on anyone's thoughts about you, including your own. Your value doesn't even go down based on what you've done or haven't done. Our society may not deem certain people as valuable if they, for instance, are old or can't work anymore or are special needs or aren't a productive member of society. But that doesn't make you any less valuable in God's eyes. Your worth is between you and your Maker, and He thought it was worthwhile to create you. That is the only opinion you need. I wish someone had told me, you are worthy no matter what.
I still feel ashamed. I need to hear you say you are worthy, my child, you're worthy.